what I mean is that I had my own experience during the Civil War. I was born during the Civil War. I was in Lagos during that time, but I had my own experiences too. One was when I was in primary school, and our teacher suddenly told us to leave the school premises and that there was trouble in Lagos. The soldiers, we learned later, had mutinied, and I always have this recurring image of the story of a pregnant woman who was shot dead in the market in Lagos. So we were asked to leave the school premises in Yaba. And some were going through the gate, and many of us were told not to go through the gate because we were encounter soldiers. These were not Biafran soldiers, they were Nigerian soldiers. And they had to scale us through the wall. And over the wall was a bush. And they scaled me over the wall, and I was alone in the bush. And I didn't know my way home because I knew a path home only through the gate. So putting me in the bush put me in a very difficult situation. So I just started wandering until I saw a set of people who were burning what looked like a python. They were trying to burn it to kill it. And when they saw me appear, it was almost as though, how did this guy just escaped a python, that we killed in this bush? Well, I told them I didn't know my way back home. And this was the era of Bomo, if you remember. And one man just said, Telemi. And I told him, I took me to number 18 Ijai Street. And I got home. It was then I heard all of the story about mutiny in town and so on and so forth. My second story in the Civil War was when my father took me to go and have a haircut. And suddenly, everybody started running. My father started running and wanted to carry me, couldn't carry me because he had to run and need this next speed. And I said I would run, and then we started running. I don't know how that incident happened. I was just about 6 years old. The third incident was a bombing incident in Yaba, the Yaba cinema. And we were sleeping at night, and then we heard the explosion. And somebody shouted, Ojuku. So the fourth instance was when we were playing in the afternoon, and everybody was saying, Ojuku Tiku, Ojuku Tiku, Ojuku Tiku. That was the end of the Civil War. So this thing had haunted me for a long while, this issue of Civil War, because I had some people who were in the war. Until I started reading about the war, and I started contemplating the war. I really started focusing on it, particularly well when I got to University of Ife, now Bafena University. And we studied the war, and I started wondering, was this war worth it? Why did the people put themselves in that slaughter? So this thing had been cogitated in my mind for a long time. And when it was 40 years of Biafra, I put my thoughts together and I did a column on it in which I said that this was an unnecessary war, and that first it was ego that led to the war. I pointed out Ojuku and Gowon, and that this war was not necessary because they could have settled the matter without, even if there was pogrom. Pogrom was really nonsense. It was an act of inhumanity, and that's one of the reasons I wrote my novel, My Name is Okoro, because Igbos were slaughtered during the Civil War, Urhobos were slaughtered, Ishekiris were slaughtered, Efik were slaughtered. So the idea of making it look like it was just one story was actually tendentious. And that was why the story had to be told in a very, realistic manner. The point is that, and I don't want to keep going on and on this, is that we went into a war in which two gentlemen who were like 30 years old put the whole world into trouble. I remember when I was telling it to one of my in-laws, because when I wrote the article, I couldn't go to Eastern Nigeria. What is Eastern Nigeria? I couldn't go there because it was not my right to say that Ojukwu was wrong to have led the country to the war. Even if you have put yourself in, you have been put to such a corner, you will think about the millions of people who would die. The Biafra was not ready for war. Biafra did not have this. So even Chimamanda, the character in Chimamanda novel said this. What are we going to do now? What are we going to do now? Madiabo said it in his book. I just picked a copy. I read it before. I just picked a copy yesterday. They were not ready for the war. So why not look for a way out? Awolowo held a meeting with Ojukwu. Let us find a way to resolve the issue. Ojukwu went to meet him. It's in Soyinka's book. You must set forth at dawn. He said, Soyinka told him, said, look, there's no way. I thank you very much for this meeting, but our people have decided that we are going to go to war. He said it. And it looked like a romantic thing for a 30-year-old. Gowon was 30 years old. Gowon had no control over himself. And we went into a war, and many people were killed. And it's very easy for you to get gung-ho about, oh, it's my people and it's your people, but they are dying. And then the other thing that is baffled me up to today is that, okay, you were fighting to keep Biafra, but what were you going to worry to kill people and steal their food? What are you going to be? What are you going to do in Lagos? You want Biafra? Okay, stay in Biafra. What are you doing outside? So when he died, I wrote an article titled Omoeko, titled that Ojukwu is Omoeko. He loved Lagos so much. So if you love Lagos so much, why did you have to fight a war? Thank you.
It is in the nature of civil wars all over